You wake up every morning feeling like you're doing just fine. You get through your day without really questioning much of anything. You make your decisions and you move on without looking back. You have your opinions and you feel pretty confident about them. And most of the time, you feel like you've got things figured out. But here's something that almost nobody ever stops to talk about. Intelligence isn't just something you're born with. It's something you either build or slowly lose through the small, everyday things you do without thinking. And right now, there are habits you might be practicing, habits that feel so completely normal you'd never think twice about them, habits that feel so natural they've become a part of who you are, that are quietly making you less sharp, less aware of the world happening right around you, less capable of the kind of thinking that actually changes your life. Today, we're going to walk through 5 of those habits together. Not to make you feel bad about yourself or where you are, but because nobody ever grows from the things they never even saw coming. So let's get into it right now. Habit 1. You surround yourself with people who never challenge you. Think about the 5 people you're closest to right now. Your best friend, your partner, the coworker you always eat lunch with. Now ask yourself honestly, when was the last time one of them looked you in the eye and told you that you were wrong? Not to be mean, not to start a fight, but because they genuinely saw something you were missing. If you can't remember, that's not a sign of good relationships. That's a sign your brain has stopped being tested. Because here's how intelligence actually works. Your mind gets sharper when it's pushed. Your thinking gets clearer when someone challenges it. But when everyone around you just nods, when no one ever questions your choices, your brain slowly stops doing the hard work. It doesn't need to. Everything already feels right. And that feeling of everything is fine is one of the quietest ways your intelligence starts to shrink. You don't need people who agree with you all the time. You need people who make you think harder. Habit 2. You mistake confidence for intelligence. You've been in a conversation where someone just takes over. They have an answer for everything. They speak without hesitating. They never seem unsure. And for a second, you think, wow, they really know what they're talking about. But then you notice something. They never say, I don't know. They never say, you know what? I hadn't thought about it that way. They never change their mind. Ever. Because they've stopped separating how strongly they feel about something from how correct they actually are. And that gap between feeling right and being right is exactly where intelligence starts breaking down. Real intelligence sounds different. It pauses before it answers. It asks questions instead of performing answers. It says, I'm not sure, without feeling embarrassed about it. The moment you stop being comfortable with I don't know, you stop learning. And the moment you stop learning, your thinking doesn't stay the same. It goes backwards. Habit 3. You stop asking questions the moment you get comfortable. You've built a life that works, a routine, a job, a way of seeing the world that explains things well enough to get through the day. And somewhere along the way, without even noticing, you stopped asking why. Not because you made a decision to stop, but because things felt okay. And when things feel okay, your brain stops pushing. It's not laziness, it's just how the brain works. It finds a pattern that feels safe and it holds on to it. But intelligence doesn't live in comfort. It lives in the questions you ask when you don't have to ask them. The why you say when you already have an answer. The curiosity you keep alive even when your life is running fine. Because the people who stay sharp their whole lives, they're not smarter than everyone else. They just never let comfort convince them that they already know enough. Habit 4. You react to everything, but reflect on nothing. Someone says something you don't agree with, and before they even finish the sentence, you already know what you're going to say back. Someone criticizes a decision you made. Someone questions something you believe, and instantly, without a pause, you're defending yourself. Here's what's actually happening in that moment. Your emotions jumped in front of your thinking, and your brain, The part that's supposed to slow down, weigh things out, and respond clearly never got a chance to show up. Every time you react without reflecting, you're training your brain to skip the most important step. And over time, that habit gets deeper. Reactions get faster. Reflection disappears completely. Real thinking requires a pause. Just 1 second of, wait, let me actually hear this. Let me actually consider it. That pause is not weakness. That pause is where your intelligence lives. Without it, you're not really responding to the world. You're just being pushed around by it. Habit 5. You're always learning, but never changing. You read, you watch videos, you listen to podcasts on your commute, you follow people online who make you think, and you feel like you're growing, like you're becoming sharper, like you're doing the work. But here's the question that actually matters. Has anything changed? Not what you know, but how you act, how you make decisions, how you treat people when things get hard, how you respond when life doesn't go the way you planned. Because consuming information and actually growing are not the same thing. Real learning shows up in behavior. It changes what you do, not just what you know. But it's easy to collect ideas without using them, to watch video after video, read article after article, and feel productive while staying exactly the same. If your thinking, your habits, and your patterns look the same today as they did a year ago, the problem isn't what you're learning. It's that learning has become a way to avoid changing. And that is the most invisible habit of them all. Here's what all 5 of these have in common. None of them feel wrong when you're doing them. They feel normal. They feel like just being yourself. And that's what makes them so hard to catch. Low IQ isn't something that happens to you. It's something that builds, quietly, comfortably, one unchallenged habit at a time. But you watched this far. You're still asking questions. You're still willing to look honestly at yourself. And that is already further than most people ever get. If any of these hit close to home, drop it in the comments. Not to judge yourself, but because seeing it clearly is always the first step to doing something about it. And if you want more content like this, videos that actually make you think differently about yourself and the people around you, subscribe to Psychology Orbis. We break down the psychology behind everyday human behavior so you can understand it and use it. Hit subscribe. It's free, and it might just be the sharpest decision you make today.